Oh man.
So you're back from the East Coast.
Yeah, when people come in, I'll explain that I upgraded the internet connection. So
Yes, I figured you'd want to let people know. They'll be very pleased.
Yeah, I'll apologize for my face in higher definition. It's not ideal. But yeah, I saw Devers homer today, so that's like 3 homers in his last 5 games.
Excellent. Did the Braves play today or not? Did they get started or no?
They postponed it, so I assume they're going to play 2 tomorrow.
Yeah,
but we shall see.
Yeah, I've got my Yelich jersey on.
Yeah, I mean, between you guys getting swept at home by Oakland and the Braves just dropping 2 in a row to the Nationals and now the Tigers, it's hard to win baseball games these days.
It is. But tonight we're getting a vintage Yelich performance: 2 for 4, home run, 4 RBIs.
All right, wow.
He shows flashes of it. They just don't last, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're not consistent.
Shelly the Turtle, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Well, it's too bad that not every hitter could face Chris Bassett or any other pitcher that I happen to be starting in fantasy, because it seems to turn even the mere mortals like Ryan O'Hearn and Adam Frazier into Babe Ruth.
Those are the guys bombing tonight, huh?
Well, the first 2. Yeah, I think Henderson hit a grand slam off him. I mean, I think the entire team took a turn, as it were.
I see that Ohtani's almost up to 300. That'd be something if he hits 300 on here.
Yeah.
2 for 2 again tonight, up to 296. Man, that guy.
If Trout weren't mired in like the worst slump of his career, and Anthony Rendon was anything but just a giant waste of existence, I mean, Ohtani might already have like 60 runs scored.
Yeah, he might. Hey, and they're still 6 games over 500, the Angels.
They sure are. We're celebrating that fact.
Yeah. As people are joining us, you want to tell us about your trip, and now that you're back in Blabbin headquarters in Southern California?
Yeah, back to Blabbin home base. I have 2 things to celebrate, actually. The first is that dry May for me is officially over. It was a grind. It really was. I wasn't sure.
So that's not water in your glass?
It's no longer, is it ice water? We're back to delicious, some delicious Tennessee vintage. Yeah, but I think it was fairly successful. I did drop some pounds, and Anyway, the other big thing. Oh, hello from Japan, or hello to Japan.
God is great. Thanks for joining us. What's the other thing?
I'm sure you'll all be happy to know that I did upgrade my my internet.
I was gonna say, this is so clear. I can see all the Simpsons individually behind you.
Yeah, I should have put a warning that this week you're going to see me more clearly than usual, and that is rarely a win. That's going to be tough. 40 years old, 44, no makeup. Been married for 20 years, so it takes a toll, people. It takes a toll.
Well, truth in advertising.
Very true. But it is nice to have the internet actually working. It was funny to go to Best Buy and ask their like internet specialist what he would recommend, and I told him what I was doing, and he told me like, well, that's ridiculous. That's just not going to work for you. Why'd you use that? And I was like, because the person before you told me to. So.
Yeah. Well, person number 2 seems to have a better idea. So very good.
Or, he just got a bigger commission on a larger sale. I don't know. Right now, it seems to be working.
So far, it's good. So far, it's good.
Yeah,
so everybody, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Blabbin Bout Slabbin here live on YouTube. Have a couple fun things to talk about tonight, and we'll get to some questions and comments from anybody watching. So, anything you want to start off with, Chris?
Yeah, I really want to see this card that we got.
Okay, you want to preface it a little bit, set it up?
Sure. Well, we'll give a little suspense. This is definitely the card of the last, like, I don't know, almost a year, I would say. This might be the riskiest card that you and I have bought. We've definitely been trying to avoid risky things. We're trying to play it a little safer. So anyway, about this card. It's a PSA 10, and it's a Pop 10. I just looked it up. There are only 10 of this card. It is a couple things Jeff and I love about it. It's an SSP. It's horizontal. It's a player we like. And
I do want to say it's Pop 10, but
Yep.
we've seen a couple of the 10s
correct.
that really probably shouldn't be 10s.
Right. Yes.
So we saw this one.
Yeah. Ha! It is not a Sonic J-Rob.
That can't be a Pop 10, MJR. That can't be a Pop 10.
You know what? I bet it's higher. I bet more people are subbing that thing. If people are still subbing the what is it? Oh, what was the chartreuse refractors out of Ben Baller? Surely they're subbing the Sonic SPs. But yeah, this is a card that we like. I'm not sure. We're not sure about the player, and we're not sure about, well, a lot, but good guess. Yeah, this particular set has a lot of top edge issues.
Yes.
That might be a good clue. And
top edge issues. This one looked incredibly clean in the picture, but you never know until you get it.
Right. And had someone tried to sell us this raw, we definitely would not have bought it. I would have assumed it was trimmed and stayed far, far away from it.
Yeah.
So here we
come on. There she is.
Really good guess. Yeah, they sent us the right card.
They did.
They did. That's always nice.
There it is.
Yeah, this is the card. Jeff and I had a 9. We've had a 9 for a while. I never thought, we just assumed a 10 would just never surface, would never be one available. But this one came up for bids, and we decided like there was an amount we'd go on it because we had other Vlads we could sell, and we somehow it stayed under that amount. I was really surprised.
Yeah, if any of you have seen these before, the top edge is usually very suspect, and at least one of the top corners.
Yeah, I mean that looks totally clean. It's so dark up there.
Yeah. And the back looks great too.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. This it is beautiful in person. I do have to say, it was very nice. Nice to get a card that looks the way you expected it to look. Just take it out of the case here.
Oh yeah, man. I want to see more smiling Guerrero. I feel like we are not getting enough happy Vlad this year.
And do you want to tell people what this photo is from? Because it's actually a meaningful photo.
Yeah, that's the ball from his first major league hit. That's what this is one of those SSPs that captures like an actual, like a recognizable great moment.
Exactly. I think they should do more of that. That's pretty cool. So his first major league hit. Now here he is 113 home runs later. Like Chris said, it's a little bit risky because, well, any of you who are fans of Vlad, have cards of him, or have him on a fantasy team, know he hasn't exactly been hitting the cover off the ball this year, or at least that's what the results show.
Correct. Yeah, and his market has begun to crash. I mean, that might be, I don't know if that's too strong, but his value,
I'd say crash is appropriate.
Yeah, his values have absolutely plummeted. I mean, he's stuck on 9 home runs. I think I posted a couple people that have the same number of home runs, but I mean, for example, Adam Frazier just hit his 9th home run today. Like 9 home runs is not. He's the leading vote getter, I think, for the All-Star game at first base, but he's not putting up the numbers that most of us expected.
Yeah. And with that Toronto lineup, he's being overshadowed by Bo Bichette, who's having another outstanding year.
Yeah. Yeah. And has better hair.
Yeah. Well, that's tough.
But yeah, I was looking up. Should we go over? Let's go over some Vlad cards that have sold lately. Like in the last week to 10 days, these cards have sold a red ink.
Okay. Yes. Before you go, Justin, we will get to you. That's exactly what we wanted to talk about. So yes, so hold that thought. But Chris, tell us about the cards.
Well, we could go to the stats first and come back to the cards.
Okay. Justin says, aren't his StatCast numbers still very elite? Weird year. His home splits are really bad too. Yes, I still think he has not hit a home run at home.
Correct. He has not hit a home run at home.
Yeah.
But there are some really, really good. There are. Yeah, we still do not have an Arenado card between us. We probably should.
But looking for, always on the lookout.
Casually looking for one. So here's some good things about Guerrero. If he's a guy you still like. This season, his hard hit rate, according to, this is all from a Baseball Reference, his hard hit rate is at 56%. That's the highest of his career. His line drive percentage is at 26.3. It's the highest of his career. And his ground ball percentage is at 44, and that is the lowest of his career. Those three are fantastic. Like, usually that spells really good stuff.
Right, because you look at his lack of home runs and you think, well, he must be hitting it on the ground more. He's not getting elevated. He's not hitting it hard. But all those numbers would say otherwise.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. His fly ball percentage is actually it's 23.9, and in 2021 when he went ballistic, it was 25.2. So he's like 1 point, give or take 1.5 percentage points. He's hitting like the same number of fly balls, more or less,
and harder, hitting the ball harder than he did in 2021.
Yeah, harder. It's weird. If you look at, like Justin was just saying, if you look at his baseball savant, it's a lot of red, like hard hit percentage, I'm sorry, exit velocity, like max exit velocity, line drive percentage. Like
he's in the top 2%, top 1 or 2% of baseball in those categories.
Yes.
Thanks, SSP Joel. Yeah, we're really happy with this one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So that's the good news, is that there's probably some bad luck. Some bad luck in here. What makes both of us sort of take a gasp a little bit is if you scroll up on his baseball reference and you just look at his like batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and OPS plus. If you look at those 4 columns, and OPS as well, this is his 5th season. There are 4 that look very, very similar and 1 massive outlier. And I think we all thought after 2021 that was going to be, this is who Vlad is now. He is coming to a
norm, right?
Yeah. But 2022, he unfortunately backtracked. In 2023, statistically right now, it looks the same as the other 3 years. We can see by the batted ball data that he is getting unlucky. But the results are starting to, I don't know. I love that card. I love him, but I don't know. Maybe he's just not going to be what we all thought he'd be. I don't know.
All right. Well, a couple things with that. Like Justin mentioned, feels like he's been around forever, and he's just 24. He just turned 24, so he's not going to be 25 until after next season starts.
Yep.
And he's got 113 home runs, right?
Yes, he has 113 home runs.
And he's younger than a lot of players that are just debuting. So he's got that's a good thing that he's got going for him. And also, even looking at his low numbers this year, his low production numbers, he's still getting hits. He's still getting hits. He's still driving in some runs.
Yep.
His OPS plus is still 125. So he's been playing that poorly at home, not even a home run yet at home. Yep. And he's still at 125. So I think that he can get that OPS plus. If he gets that up to 145 or 150 by the end of the summer, I'll be much more comfortable with this card and him going.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure, because we definitely still have some other Vlads as well. But I mean, I'm not panicking by any means, but like if who he was last year becomes who he is every single year, there's obviously still value there, because he has shown, and I hate to say stuff like this out loud, but he's shown a really impressive ability to stay on the field.
Yeah.
And every single week, it seems like people are just dropping like flies, particularly if I have them on fantasy, and, some guys that you have on fantasy as well. It just seems like every single day, some calamity is befalling some superstar, and he manages to stay on the field. And that's really important for counting stats.
Yes. And the other thing is, if he was performing like he did in 2021, if he's a 2-time MVP now, we wouldn't get this card for what we got it for.
No,
so, I mean, so the risk is there. The risk is built into getting the card, and I don't know. I mean, it's not one we're really comfortable with, but I think at where we got it at, we couldn't pass it up.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we'd agree we would bid a certain amount, and if we lost it, we lost it, with no bad feelings, no regrets. But we won it, and I'm pretty happy at the price we got it, because
it's the cleanest one we've ever seen. So I'm happy with that.
Yes, even a year ago, that card was probably 3 times what we paid for it.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, I just want to say, if Guerrero is someone you like, and I can tell Justin, it seems like you're on board. Like, I have him in two fantasy keeper leagues. I'm not trading him. Like, I do like him long term. I do think he is going to figure out how to get some more balls in the air and get them over the fence. Now might be a fantastic time to pick up like a low end, or I'm sorry, a low numbered high end Guerrero card that you always thought was probably out of your reach. I'm just going to go over some sales.
Yeah.
The last like 10 days that some of this boggles my mind. There was that red ink PSA 9 sold for under $500. And that's numbered out of what, 60 or 70?
70 or 70, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And a red ink PSA 10 just sold for $1,380 on eBay. There's what? I think there's 10 or 11 or 7. Damn it.
It's really low pop.
It's really, really low pop, and that card is awesome. You and I just liquidated a whole bunch of Vlads a few months ago to get one.
Yes.
And it's two props.
At a higher value than that.
Correct. We obviously paid a lot more than that, but then we got more for our cards then that we certainly could get now. Because a Topps Chrome blue refractor auto and a PSA 10. So that's your color match.
Beautiful card.
Beautiful card. $1,600 just sold on eBay, I think yesterday. And a refractor PSA 10 went for $580, and a base PSA 10 auto went for $350. And those are like, I want to say those are like 25% of where they were about 18 months ago.
Yeah, they're going for a fraction of what guys like Ellie De La Cruz and Corbin Carroll are going for, who obviously are hot right now, and Carroll especially putting together a great season. But as we mentioned, Guerrero's only 24 and has a lot of numbers behind him. And it's funny that he's taking such a dive because if you look beyond and he's still batting almost 290, still got decent numbers. But if you even look beyond those, you look at the Baseball Savant numbers, you'd think that he's either hurt, like he's a DeGrom or something, or he's batting 200 and can't get on base with this huge drop in his prices.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, he's hitting the ball really, really hard and not on the ground, and it's staying in the ballpark. It's hard to really. I don't watch as many. It's not like I've seen. God, I hate to put a number on it. Like 85% of Acuna's at bats this year, which is really an indictment on my lifestyle and my use of time. But I would love to know. I can tell you that Acuna gets unlucky quite a bit. He has a lot of like 110 mile an hour outs that are nuts. So it's possible Guerrero is in that same boat. I don't know. But a couple of his other cards I just wanted to mention real quick here. His update gold parallel in a PSA 10.
Is that the throwing one?
The throwing one. It's that god awful image. I don't know what Topps is doing. But again, that's his rookie gold parallel. That's a very collectible card, as we know. It's like a $200 card. I mean, if you like Guerrero long term, there's really very little risk. I mean, $200 is nothing; it's something. But I mean, it was a lot more. And the pointing PSA 10, that SP, he's like,
is one of the coolest cards. Yeah,
that's probably his best rookie image. I love that card. Two things about that: one, there's still under 100 PSA 10s out of like 400 plus that have been subbed, because that card has the same top edge issues that the SP does, and it's about a $220 card right now.
Which is crazy. Yes.
That thing I love.
Just a couple comments. Yeah, Thomas. The Toronto thing can't help either. Kind of lack of hobby love for Bichette too, which agreed. Although he's finally getting a little bit of respect in the hobby. But yes, if he was putting up those numbers, the same numbers he's doing stateside, like in New York or LA, it'd be crazy.
Oh, for sure.
MJR, do you spend thousands on De La Cruz or a future Hall of Famer? And I mean that kind of goes to our point. So Chris and I are there with you, but also it's like, so there's three choices. You go for that prospect, the hot prospect, the Hall of Famer, or in this case, when we kind of went in the middle, like, so it is kind of risky. Vlad is more of a risk than say a Trout or an Ohtani at this point, or Betts, Harper, those kind of guys. Yeah. But given the way his prices are now, we just felt like we couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So here are some interesting. So Guerrero for his career, he turned 24 in March. So this is
okay.
And again, I believe someone can look this up. I believe he's younger than Adley Rutschman. Or they're the same. They're approximately the same age. I'm not 100% sure, but it's really, really close. I know Soto's younger than Rutschman. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, so Guerrero already has 14.5 WAR, and he's over 1 for this season, which, while not great, he's on pace for like a 3.5 WAR season or something like that, which, solid, unspectacular. I sound like my wife now. No, he's got 113 career home runs, as you said, 618 career RBIs, and 134 is his career OPS plus.
So these are RBIs. I mean, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, he potentially could turn 30 with like 1,200 RBIs.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
Yeah,
but especially with Bichette and Springer on base in front of him. I know a lot of people are writing him off, and I just think it's a great opportunity. We're not saying 100% go buy him, but if you believe in him, now is a fantastic time.
All right, Aaron Davies said the card market in Canada has tanked big time, much worse than in the U.S., and I think that's not helping his card values. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
MJR Sports Cards, I feel like we're at the point in the year where people start to evaluate if they want to invest in certain prospects, and looking to someone like Vlad would be a good move. Yeah, I mean, we've got the Top Series 2 coming out with some big rookies in, right? We got Carroll, Walker, Henderson, I believe.
Yeah. Volpe was a big rookie. He still is a rookie, and I'm sure there's a big segment of the country that's all over his cards, but most of the country probably isn't. But yeah, Corbin Carroll's first, we saw it on eBay, the first Topps Black parallel that came up. I think it was $100, and it was pretty badly dinged.
Yeah.
So I mean, all that attention is going to be on him and De La Cruz. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right. Goldschmidt was very, very much a late bloomer.
He was. Yeah, and he's on a Hall of Fame track if he keeps it up for a few more years. So yeah, Goldschmidt was at 3.4 WAR through his age 24 year. That's so at that pace, Vladdy's going to be probably 14, 15 ahead of that if he can get it going. Oh, don't forget the Gold Glove. That's right, Vladdy got the Gold Glove.
He did. It's funny because I've watched one full Toronto game, and he dropped 2 balls at first base. Yeah, I tend to do that. If I say something good about a person or a player, it tends to backfire almost instantaneously.
Well, that is the other thing about Vlad, though. He's shown a willingness to work hard and get better, and
yes,
he takes criticism well. He was criticized early in his career about his weight and being in shape, and he worked really hard the off seasons.
Yeah,
he was pretty bad on defense, like below replacement level on defense. Yeah. And while he may not have deserved the Gold Glove last year, at least he worked hard and made himself into.
He was very accountable for that weight gain, which is in the COVID season. I remember there's a story about he called a players meeting at the end of the year and apologized to everyone in the locker room that he did not think they were going to play. He was staying with his aunt or his grandmother. I forget who it was. And she just kept making I want to say it was some kind of pasta dish, but I'm not sure what it was. She just kept making him homemade food, and he gained 25 pounds and then got the phone call hey, report for spring training. And he wasn't expecting it, and he was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I did also want to say that while I was pointing out a lot of those prices have dropped, a lot of his stuff has sold. I was looking in the month of June, 39 rookie autos have sold on eBay in the month of June. And I think today is the 13th. So that's about 3 a day. So I mean,
so does that, what do you make of that? Does that mean people are getting out? People are just cutting their losses and wanting to get out, or people that got in really early? Because I don't know how early you would have had to get in to be above water right now.
Well, I would say it's not even early. If you bought after the COVID season in 2020 and before 2021, I'd say you're still doing okay.
Yeah.
For example, we don't have to talk numbers, but you have that gold auto of his.
I do.
And we know what that peaked at, but what you paid was significantly less than what.
But after seeing that blue go for 1,600,
right?
I don't know what it would go for.
That's a good question. I'm not sure what the pop is. It's still an absolutely gorgeous card. But yes, as MJR Sports is saying, he's a kid at the end of the day. He's only 24 years old. I can't imagine any human being investing in any aspect of my life when I was 24 years old and feeling comfortable about it. So But yeah, I mean, the potential is still there. Obviously, if he keeps hitting the ball hard, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I just saw, it was either a text or a comment. I was talking, someone mentioned that I was saying I talk about someone and bad things happen, but our good friend Max Muncy might be headed for a lengthy DL or IL stint.
Oh no, what happened to Max?
I think he strained his hamstring. Yeah, I think it was just eating hot dogs. I'm not sure if it was an on the field injury, but yeah.
Yeah, speaking of injuries, I mean some big hobby names have went down recently. I'm thinking of Judge and Jordan, especially. I mean, two guys who were kind of somewhat on the heels of Mr. Otani for the MVP award, or at least the closest that anyone could be in the AL, and now they're on the shelf for who knows how long.
Yeah, some interesting injuries too. Like, yeah, the Jordan one is really it's concerning. Like he's a big, strong guy, and an oblique or was the oblique, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the kind of thing that can just linger and linger. So that's definitely worrisome. I mean, Judge looks like he just messed up his foot.
Yeah, no timeline on his return. He doesn't seem too concerned, but I think the Yankee fans are concerned. Hey, Lucky Peter card collector, thanks for joining.
That lineup without Aaron Judge is like, I don't know what it is. I mean, would you go see Aerosmith if Steven Tyler wasn't there? There's not much left. No one's scared of Rizzo anymore. Stanton plays like 3 days a week. I don't know. Are we concerned Willie Calhoun is going to
Willie Calhoun batting third for the Bronx Bombers. Not what they had drawn up at the beginning of the year, I don't think.
No, did you watch any of the ESPN game between the Red Sox and Yankees?
No.
It was just sad. It's just sad. I mean, I don't think ESPN has realized yet where those franchises are.
So they just keep putting them on.
They just keep putting them on. I mean, the Red Sox lineup is just Devers and then a bunch of guys that no one's heard of or cares about. And the Yankee lineup, I don't know. It was the least interesting 3-2 baseball game I've seen in a long time. It's hard to realize. You think about how much money is on those two payrolls, and look at what's on the field. It's pretty astonishing.
Yeah, MGR Sports Cards, Aaron Hicks and Fuego. Yeah, I texted Chris the other day after he hit a home run against my Brewers for the Orioles. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even know he was back in the big leagues, much less batting fifth in a major league lineup and hitting home runs. He just needed to get out of New York.
We have a mutual friend we play softball with who's a huge Yankee fan, and we have just for like a year and a half, we all just have like a weekly catch up on how the worst things our teams are doing. And he has just been complaining about Aaron Hicks, and the fact that the Yankees keep putting him in there is day in, day out. So he was pretty happy when he finally got cut. So now watch him hit like 350 the rest of the way for Baltimore.
Yankee Met game is a fun one to watch. What's going on with that one now?
I thought it was like
Severino kind of got bombed and Scherzer got bombed. So
that was like Scherzer. That was Scherzer pitched that game.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. Legitimately, Mets fans in this room, how comfortable are? And I don't mean to gloat because the Braves have their own problems, but like, how comfortable are you with these two 39-year-old pitchers that Steve Cohen's given like what $80 million to a year? And they both look very, very mortal and very.
As a Verlander fantasy owner, I'm not comfortable, so I can't imagine the actual fans of the team are very comfortable.
No, watching him walk all those Braves, I was like, who is this? Like that's not Verlander doesn't walk.
No, he was a control guy. A guy got ejected for sticky stuff in the Yankee Met game. All right, well that makes things interesting.
I mean, another like on which team? I'm curious.
Severino.
I see. Can you check the comments? I think someone asked us what we were looking at.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. First of all, Justin, wish they'd scheduled Yanks Red Sox when Succession was still running. Would have had something else to watch. Yeah. Sorry, your Sunday nights. And Daniel Murphy just signed with the Angels. Interesting. All right. Maybe they're looking for some production in that lineup. I get it.
I mean, honestly, if you had to choose between him and Anthony Rendon right now, who are you putting in that lineup behind Trout? I mean, may as well just give him a shot.
Murphy, yeah,
right.
Yes, Thomas Campbell. What's the next big card or player you guys on your guys' want list? Anything specific?
That is an excellent question. Jeff and I got really excited this morning. You want to tell them about what we saw this morning and what we tried to
Yeah,
buy?
I'm not sure if you guys know, but Chris and I are both Southern California locals right now, and there's a pretty nice card shop in our neck of the woods. It's called Burbank Sports Cards, and so we often go there, often visit, but we also follow them on IG, and they're always posting new cards, new pickups that they have that they're putting out. And this morning, one caught my eye on the Monday new arrivals video that they posted over there at Burbank. So I took a screenshot and sent it to Chris. I was like, "Well, what do you think?" And we had a discussion about it. But by the time we got a hold of somebody there to see if it was still there, it was gone, unfortunately. And it's something we like a lot. It's a red ink auto of Shohei Ohtani. And it was an 8.5, so I guess that's maybe why the price seemed reasonable. But it was the hitting image, not the hitting image, but he had his bat in his hand. He's
Yeah.
kind of outside the cage. It's a great shot, red ink auto. It was beautiful, and we were set to go to the bank, pull out some cash, and head right over there to make a purchase. And we didn't get it.
Yeah, I was going to forge my wife's signature on some documents, get that money ready, and go pick up that card. But if someone beat us to it, and I don't blame him at all.
No, I think it was a great pickup. So yeah, I mean we have been looking for another Otani, ideally an auto. Although a couple very rare SSPs have caught our eye a little bit, but we're looking for an auto, and I don't know. We're just trying to find our best option. We're trying to sell some of our other Otanis in order to fund a better one.
Yes.
So I don't know. So we're going to keep an eye out for it. If nothing else, Chris and I are both planning on going to the Burbank show at the beginning of September, end of August, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff there related.
I would certainly think so. It's the Burbank show in Anaheim. It sounds like
Yes.
Los Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out that, yeah, we do go to the Burbank card shop a couple times a month. Yeah. We frequently will do it. I just got an alert that Devers hit his second home run of the game.
All right.
We'll get back into the fantasy baseball alerts. But we like to go to the Burbank card shop under the guise of taking your kids there.
Yes.
For their entertainment, and then we just leave them in the car with the windows cracked, and it's fine. It's it's totally fine.
No, you do have to admit they come in. We just put the graded card box in front of them. They look through some graded cards, pick them out. Meanwhile, we're shopping around.
It's impressive how quickly they decide what they want, though. I remember like my mom or dad taking me to the card shop when I was a kid, and I remember just draining their patience because I'd be in there for like 40 minutes. Yeah. And I'd have like $5 from my grandparents, and I'm trying to decide what to buy, and I could not make a decision. But your kids go through that slab box. They look like Jack and Being John Malkovich, just like flying through there, and they'll pluck out a slab and like, this is the one I want.
Yep, this is the one I want. And then they'll find some packs. They'll go to the cheap pack area, and they'll spend their $10.
And your daughter especially goes right to the register. And it's like, I'm ready.
Yes.
Like, well, you have to wait for Uncle Chris, who's still looking at this at the new.
Yeah, we got another hour to go. Well, then they get their packs and they can open their packs while they're finishing our wait. MJR, you're in Brentwood. That's awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll be at the show. Question from Justin: who would you be more comfortable buying a bigger card of as a long-term hold right now, Devers or Vlad?
Wow, that's a fantastic question, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm gonna say Vlad. I'm gonna say Devers. That's who But you think about it.
Well, I mean, we did just buy this one.
We did.
So I guess part of the reason that we bought this one is because we do have more Devers right now. We've got an awful lot of pretty good Devers cards.
We do. If we could get another Devers SSP for what we just paid for that Guerrero, I buy it right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but his counting stats are even better than buy us off the clear pickup. Excellent. Yeah, I mean
that was a great pickup.
A little bit. But yeah, his counting stats are even beyond Guerrero's. Plus, he's got the postseason success. He's averaging an RBI a game in like 29 postseason games. He's got a ring, and he's in a huge market in America, and he's going to stay there.
Yeah.
And barring some sort of catastrophe, there should be a Devers statue outside of Fenway Park like 25 years from now.
Yes, and then while they have been terrible, they're not going to be terrible forever. So I
Yeah,
feel like during that 10-year run of his contract, he's going to get some more postseason exposure.
for sure.
In a vacuum, I would have to say Devers. But the reason that we did pick this one up was because I mean, part of the reason was that we had fewer Vlad
Right. And
big cards.
it's also a card that we didn't have. And it can
Yeah,
only 10 of these. I think the Devers SSP, I want to say it's about 30 PSA 10s, which is not to say that it's um, super
common.
common,
Yeah.
but slightly more common.
Yeah, so we've gotten a lot of votes in here for Devers. MGR went Devers, Aaron Davies, Dwayne, DC. Yeah, so I think Devers gets the love, especially 4 home runs in his last 5 games. Can't hurt
No, because we were talking
his
about
fan.
that void, that AL void that exists right now. Like there's Shohei Ohtani, and then there's this like space behind him that Judge and Jordan filled, and
Right.
they're both gone, and we don't know how long they're going to be gone for. Obviously, we saw that unsubstantiated rumor from a pretty unlikely source about how long Judge will be gone, but you just don't know. So
Yeah,
someone has got to step into Otani's shadow.
and Devers and another guy that MGR is mentioning is Marcus Simeon, uh, who is great. He's
And
been
yeah,
great the past couple of years. Picked
yep.
up one of his. Maybe worth taking a flyer. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think if you have to look at Simeon, if you think that he's got a chance at the Hall of Fame with a big mid to late career surge, you can't go wrong. It's probably pretty low cost to get in there, so you're not investing the same as you would on an Acuna or a Soto. So I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
Simeon is a great player. His WAR numbers are going to dwarf what Devers and Guerrero will put up because of his defense, and I think if he's second base, he played a lot of shortstop, but he's also not young. I
Right?
want to say he's 33.
No, is he really?
Yeah, if someone could look that
Oh
up,
man.
older than you think he is. Um, but which would mean he's 9 years older than Guerrero and 7 years older than Devers. So long-term collectability, I don't know.
No, and that's only say about two WAR a year ahead of them.
Yeah, and he got great like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I just don't think he's going to be. I mean, unless obviously it's not impossible he continues this for another 6 years. But yeah, please
All
look
right.
at the date for me. Thanks. He's 32.
Okay, we got 32.
30.
32.
Yeah, he's just kind of a late bloomer.
Right, which I mean, we mentioned earlier with Goldschmidt, it's not unreasonable to think that he could have 5 more good years.
Yeah. But yeah,
Dwayne says, I always say if a player can get to 250 homers by age 30, then they have a good chance at 450 or 500. Devers will be 27 this October and is at 156 counting tonight. All right.
I I would like to think 175 at the end of this year is not unreasonable. 33 in September, and he's got 37 and a half WAR. Yeah, I mean he's going to have a really great career. I hope Texas makes the playoffs and he and Seager get some more national attention. But
Yeah, I mean, realistically, Simeon would need another 5 years at the level that he's playing right now. Yeah,
yeah,
low risk, high reward. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think that I think he's low risk, high reward.
Aaron Davies mentioned if it were my thing, I would be picking up Vlad to flip in the shorter term, but Devers longer term for sure. Yeah, I mean, Chris and I are both thinking that Vlad is going to pick it up, and so his market shouldn't keep dropping. I don't think so. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, we're thinking of it as a long term hold, but I could see that.
Yeah, I would think that if you ask people that question, Vlad or Devers, and you didn't let them look at any numbers, like don't let them like just answer in 5 seconds. Like, what's your knee jerk reaction? I feel like most people would say Vlad, and then they would look at the numbers and then switch to Devers. That would be my guess because Guerrero has the hype thing. He's more famous. Like he's
And
again
he
he's
had
leading.
the great year, right? I mean, he had the one
Yeah,
great year that Devers hasn't had quite yet.
right,
So,
right.
um,
Yeah, I. Oh,
Dilu
but
15. Curious, do you guys have
yeah.
cards you will hold for like 15 years, like all the way until a player's career ends? And I think that's the way that Chris and I are going now. Over the last year, we've tried to move our cards towards that, towards holding cards of players that we think are going to be viable in the hobby in 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, for sure. There's a core Freddie Freeman and Acuna collection, both of my personal stuff and that Jeff and I co-own. That I would not let Jeff sell, barring my wife murdering me and making Jeff sell it for the money. There's no way we're selling those cards for a while.
Yeah.
Unless obviously something comes up and we actually need money for something, then obviously. But yeah, I would say the answer to that question is yes.
Yes, and I think that's almost explicitly what our aim is now.
Yes.
So that's why this one even feels like a little bit of a risk, because we don't know what Vlad's going to be in 15 years. He could still be hitting. He could be a David Ortiz in his late 30s, just matching balls and walking around the bases.
Yeah, it doesn't seem impossible. He could have even like a Pujols-esque resurgence.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. I'm not 17 years from now, so let's not even let's not even think about that. But can someone? I don't know if anyone's watching the home run that Devers hit. That was pretty late in the game. Was that a walk-off? I'm just curious. I can't look at any scores or anything. So if anyone's watching that Red Sox game,
and so with Devers home run, what is he up to now on the season?
I think that might be 17.
17.
I think so. He needs to get the average and the OBP up.
Oh my gosh! Nobody told me that the Brewers lost. Jeez.
They were winning that game.
Yes, Devin Williams gave up 4 earned runs and didn't get anybody out in the 9th inning. Wow.
That's Rafael Iglesias-esque.
That's
they're still
absolutely atrocious.
Thanks, Gus. Yeah, that is horrible. Yeah, I know that feeling, and that is just utterly, yeah. You want to just take a minute, walk off camera, and
and especially since I have Burns in a wins league. Okay, so Dailu says it was to pull them within 1 run. The Sox are down 7-6 in the 10th. MJR, exactly. Yes, I have Burns on my fantasy team, the only league that I'm in that still pays attention to wins, and they blew it. Yes, so double whammy for my team losing and my fantasy team blowing a win. Correa walk-off bomb, great. Wow,
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So I want to briefly talk about Corbin Carroll, since we're talking young players that are extremely hyped. Is $1,100 for the first flagship back for Series 2 rookie? That seems like a lot of money. Off the top of my head, I think Michael Harris's Raws were going for like $800-900 when Series 1 came out.
And then what did it go for this year at PSA 10?
The last PSA 10 sold for $350.
Yeah. And
I'm really bummed it didn't go to me.
Yeah.
But oh well. I saw a question right there.
The question is, at what point would you actually sell your long-term cards? Would that not be impossibly hard for cards you have that much attachment to? It would be difficult, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be hard. Because there's some Freeman cards that I shouldn't say this stuff because my wife might be watching, but like that I'm into for basically nothing that are now worth like a pretty decent amount of money. So that profit would be nice. I could take her on like a nice vacation or buy her a nice present, but I'd just rather keep the card, if I'm being completely honest. And really hoping that her phone is on mute.
Yeah, I think yes, and we'll get to what MGR is talking about.
Yeah.
But yes, as far as long-term cards, I don't have quite the same attachment to many of my baseball cards that Chris does, because he's got Freeman and Acuna as his primary PCs, who also played huge roles on his team and winning a championship. But where I can draw a parallel is I have a lot of Giannis cards who won a championship with my Bucks, and those would be hard to part with.
So, he's big in like the Milwaukee community, like the state, the entire state of Wisconsin, just like the entire state just adores him. Hopefully he never leaves.
I hope he never leaves. But even if he does, like you've experienced with Freeman, you're still a Freeman fan, and yes, it's heartbreaking to have him in another uniform, but it doesn't mean you wanted to get rid of all of his cards. I remember there's a few hardcore Braves fans that wanted to do that. Like the second he was gone, they put all their Freeman cards and got rid of them. So I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I couldn't do that, even if my guy leaves. So
Yeah, it was hard because the that flag from the 2021 World Series is going to fly forever, and the memories of that of watching it will last as long as my alcohol little brain will allow me to keep them. So I don't want to. Couldn't just punt all the cards. I couldn't do it.
So Chris, in case you didn't notice, your wife did wave at you, so she did hear about those Freeman. So I expect to see some Freemans for sale on your Instagram page soon, and you to be booking a trip to somewhere.
Well, let's not make those reservations just yet. My guess is there's a solo trip being planned right now in lieu of that.
So I should look at her Instagram page to see some Freeman cards for sale, and maybe
that's probably the more likely.
Get a good bargain. Yeah. Thomas Campbell, maybe the attachment would lessen once they're retired and done playing. Maybe it's hard to know. I don't know.
I still have, and fantasy seems like the wrong word, but I promise you it's the right word. I have this fantasy of like Freeman coming back after his 6 years in LA. And I mean, if he does, then I will definitely find a ticket to that first home game for sure.
Well, it's not unreasonable. It happens a lot. Look at McCutchen this year. Comes back, gets his 2000th hit in the Pittsburgh uniform. Great moment for baseball. Great moment for him, for the fans. So
yeah, he's not going to play anywhere else. Like he'll play there until he's done.
Yeah. SSP Joel, you have Barnes and Williams in your fantasy league. Oh man, that tops it. Sorry to hear. That really sucks.
Yeah, MJR. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking. Like I mean, even if they sign Ohtani and they win 4 straight World Series, I feel like he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Like we all saw how he reacted that first game back in Atlanta last year when he got like it was like a 7-minute standing ovation and he's just bawling at home plate. I mean, the whole thing just makes you angry at the agents for messing the situation up. But at this point, it is what it is.
Aaron Davies, if he returns with another World Series and MVP, look out. Might be a couple vacations then.
Yeah.
True.
That's a trade I would make. If he can pull.
Okay, real quick before we get back to the Carroll discussion, MJR said Kutch is not a Hall of Famer in his opinion, but how do you feel? Some people have been making case for it. I agree. To me, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's a great player. He's great for the game. I loved it when he played in Milwaukee. He's just one of those really good players. Great to have around the game. Multi-time All-Star, good leader in the clubhouse. But yeah, if his career ended soon or now or the way it is, I had a vote, I probably wouldn't vote for him for the Hall of Fame. But.
Hall of very good. The Hall of very good. I hope he sticks around baseball long after he retires because he's got a great personality and he's a good interview.
Yeah.
He's great like young guy or MLB guy. God, if we could just get Harold Reynolds and if we could retire them, that would be fantastic. But I'm getting too hopeful now.
Real quick, back on the topic of Corbin Carroll, we had some comments in there about chasing the hype train. I'm not sure if anybody out there has ripped any Series 2. Chris and I haven't yet, and I don't know if we ever will. But yes, it seems to be dangerous to chase the hype train, especially when cards are released right away. I've seen another strategy that some people employ for SSP cards, the rare parallels, is not go after the first ones and then wait for a couple months or wait till the off season. And that might be a strategy too. Carroll has obviously played like a house on fire. He's on pace for 34 home runs, 48 RBIs. I know he was leading the league in WAR, at least temporarily this week. So, yeah, there's a lot to be said for me. Playing for an exciting team.
Yeah, it's all positive. I have nothing negative to say, but I would say that it's interesting because we talked 2 weeks ago about these rare heritage variations that pop up. Super rare. If you don't get it right away, you'll never see it again. Like as a Braves fan, the top, I want to say, was it Series 1 or Series 2 last year where they had the Ultra SPs? The 5, I want to say it was the 5 World Series Braves cards with the Freeman, this guy.
Catching the ball.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
So, like, there were about, maybe, I want to say about 7 of those cards popped up fairly early on, and I have not seen one surface anywhere in like 18 months at least. So yeah, I mean, if there's stuff like that, I think you gotta pounce it. But if you like, I would not buy his Topps Black or that Gold Mirror SSP right now. I think it's like someone else the sophomore slump. But I mean, you're buying this. This would be the absolute worst game to buy a Corbin Carroll card that I could imagine.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people who want to be in there first.
Oh yeah,
which I get. But as far as if you're trying to make an investment or a wise financial decision, it's probably better to wait.
And I will also say, if you're trying to trade for him in fantasy, I haven't in that league with you. Someone sent me a trade, JT Real move trade up for Corbin. Don't be that guy. Don't send trades like people don't. That doesn't endear people. That makes people.
Well, they're just hoping you're a few drinks in and wouldn't mind.
Wow. Now that it's June, that's not impossible. But I think what they're really somehow get confused about which one is decline and which button is accept, and maybe I didn't. But I mean, good lord, be better. Be better.
All right, so you're freezing up a little bit, so I'm worried about your internet. So maybe you're on a time limit.
There is some feedback I'm getting when you talk. It sounds kind of like you're underwater a little bit. But I don't know yours.
Yeah, there's a little bit of audio difficulties, and you're going in and out. So I don't know if we're just maybe that's the world's way of telling us we should get out of here.
Sure. I feel it sounds really windy. I don't know if that's coming from you or me. But yeah, we're approaching the hour mark. Don't want to talk for longer.
A little bit like you're talking in a can.
That's exactly how you sound.
Yeah. So maybe yeah. All right, MJR. It sounds like I think we're gonna wrap it up there because we don't want to keep going. But thanks everybody for all the questions and the insights. It was a good discussion on a lot of different options.
Yes, I am very, very excited about that Vlad Devers poll. I'm going to post that. What do people think?
That's a great poll, and put up a picture of each of these guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't get our PSA return. We thought we might have a PSA return back by this week, in which case we could have went for a blind reveal, but maybe next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. We've been in QA2 for like 3 weeks now.
Yes. So thanks everybody. Thanks MGR. Thanks everybody for joining us. Please remember to subscribe, and it'll let you know every time we go live or every time a new video pops up. Chris and I are going to be working on a few more videos this week. Thanks, Justin. We'll see you all next week. Thanks so much, guys.